Hi everybody, so I don't know if you've heard of or if you remember, if you know about this stuff. It's Sugru. It was invented in 2003 by Jane Nigal-Quintig, a woman from Ireland. She worked on it apparently for 7 years and brought out the product in 2010, and in 2010 she won the Times Award for the 50th Great Innovations of 2010. She carried on and set up a company which by 2018 was worth, I think, €2 million turnover and 30 employees, and she won the Entrepreneur of Europe Award again in 2018. Now, it is amazing stuff, limited really, I suppose, by your imagination. It's kneadable, it'll stick to a whole range of things including plastics, glass, metal, cloth. It's set in 24 hours to form a durable soft rubber coating. Now, if you have a look at what's in it, you'll find that it is in fact this stuff. Silicon sealant. It's 50% silicon sealant and roughly 50% talcum powder with a cross-linking agent. And the reason it's got a cross-linking agent is because this stuff, which is absolutely everywhere, you'll find this in your bathroom, around your bath, around your shower, around your sink, around the floor tiles, it's just absolutely everywhere. But it cures with moisture in the air. The moisture in the air is a cross-linker, and as it cross-links the silicone rubber, it gives off acetic acid, which is why you get that really strong vinegary smell. It's the rubber curing with the moisture in the air, and of course that's not really acceptable, so the 7 years was spent finding a new cross-linking agent which didn't create that smell. There's only one teeny tiny problem with it. If you're going to buy some of this, then a pack of 8 at 3.5 grams per sachet is going to cost you something like £15. What that means is it's somewhere in the region of £550 a kilo. That is an incredible price. It means that you're not going to do anything large with it unless you have lots of money to throw away. It would be great if only there were a substitute that was a hell of a lot cheaper. And this is it. It was called Oogoo. It was developed on the internet, actually. I'm not quite sure who came up with it, but a whole load of people have been working with it and on it because it is stupidly easy. Now, this is 274 grams, so nearly a third of a kilo. And that cost me £5. So it's remarkably cheaper. The only thing is, it doesn't have the fancy cross-linking agent in it. You have to let that cross-link with moisture in the air, and of course that means it smells of vinegar. Well, for me that's not really an issue. I either do it outside or do it in a well-ventilated area, but it is what's used already in your bathrooms, of course, and that means it's not that bad, to be honest, but it is something that you need to put up with. Now, that vinegar smell has driven the sealant companies to come up with a whole range of sealants, including this, which is the type 1 silicon sealant, and then others that are not silicon sealants. So if you're going to do this, you need to get one that says 100% silicon on it, or type 1 silicon sealant. Then all you need to do is mix that with something. Now, Jane used talcum powder, or the Oogoo used corn flour, probably something to do with the patent, I don't know. But corn flour and this stuff mixed together makes Oogoo, which is a Sugru replacement, and it works exactly the same and it behaves exactly the same, which is no real surprise because it's the same ingredients, really. This stuff will absorb moisture from the air all by itself. It's hygroscopic, which means this will cure much more quickly. Sugru takes 24 hours still to cure. This will cure in about 15 minutes or so. So your work time is much slower. You have to organise yourself a bit more before you begin to use this, but as a replacement for Sugru, it's just ridiculously cheap. I mean, you're talking about, what, 15, maybe £20 a kilo, as opposed to £500 a kilo. So if you want to not spend that much, have the same effect, and don't mind the smell of vinegar, this is going to be your solution. Now, it's dead easy to make. What I got here is a paper plate, and we just pour some cornstarch on it. Cornstarch or corn flour, it's exactly the same stuff, it's just in the US they like to call it cornstarch. Pour out some of your cornstarch. You'll notice I'm wearing gloves. It's non-toxic, I'm just wearing gloves to stop the thing sticking to me. And then you put on a good dollop of your silicone. Now, I'm using a white silicone, but if you use a transparent one, then you can colour it by adding food colour. You just put on a big old dollop of the stuff, and then sprinkle it with your cornstarch so it's not sticky, and it'll make this lump that won't stick to you. Just knead it and keep on kneading it. If it gets a bit sticky, drop it back in the cornstarch. You want about 50-50, but normally if you just knead it until it's a nice sort of putty and it's not sticking to you, then it's going to be fine. There's a second way to make this stuff. You can weigh out 50% silicon, 50% corn flour, put them in a tin and mix them by hand until they're well mixed. This hand mixing one, it's really easy to do for small amounts. Put it in a tin and mix it, it's really easy to do for larger amounts. After a couple of minutes of kneading, that's it. There's my Sugru replacement. And people have been doing amazing things with this because this has been around for about, I don't know, 8 years or so. But I want it because of this. If you remember this was our folding wind turbine that had only one problem. When it folded, it clattered, and I wanted to put rubber all the way down here so when it folds, it hits the rubber and it's nice and quiet. That means I want a lot of it. And so though I admire Jane and what she's done with the Sugru company, I'm not paying £500 a kilo in order to put rubber strips on there. And 15 minutes later, there you go. Much, much quieter. Now, Sugru and 3D printing are a bit of a match made in heaven actually, because it does stick very well to the plastic. And if you put that in a Google search, you'll find a ton of things that people have been doing with this. If you change that ratio from 50-50, so you use less cornstarch, then it'll extend the setting time, but it is a bit stickier. You can also thin it, or that people have reported you can thin it, but they're using things like xylene to do that, which, you know, I just kind of want to avoid really. But as an addition to what you're making, or as something in itself, it's tremendously useful, just incredibly expensive. So I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope it was helpful. Thank you very much for watching, and please do remember to like and subscribe.